You know, it's crazy to think about how long I've been playing video games for. I was born January 17, 2003, and I've been playing video games for a long time. If you check my other videos, you'll know how long I've been playing video games for. But from what I can remember, this little blue has been there since the very beginning. No, not from what I can remember, from what I know. This blue has been there since the very beginning. Now, I'm not sure if I can find any footage of this, but when I was a kid, it was actually acceptable to be a kid in a lot of areas where adults would frequent. There were a lot more playgrounds, the internet wasn't as prevalent as it was now, and being a kid was just normal, just as any other generation. And thinking about that, I sometimes sit and wonder how many people have been introduced to video games in similar ways. I have an older brother, and he's also into video games, but he's 8 years older than I am, so you would probably assume that we aren't playing the same video games. Even if he was a Sonic fan at the time, which I doubt, because let's be real, there really weren't that many games he could have gotten away with playing since he didn't have a home console when I came into the picture. Word on the streets for my family, my brother was an action figure guy until he got older, which is pretty funny. But anyways, the older I got, due to situations with family members and all that extra stuff, my older cousin had ended up living with us for a while, and him being around keeping my older brother out of the house, they needed something to keep me sad inside because my siblings didn't want to watch me. Who would blame them? And I don't blame them. To come home from being bossed around all day to take care of a kid that isn't theirs, yeah, who would want to do that? I mean, it's not like I knew their teachers, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason why they don't talk about them. Now, when I was younger, I've had various amounts of family friends and or close relatives that were able to take the weight off of my family's shoulders for a little bit, but there were these two ladies that weren't related to us in any way. They were just really close with my mom, and those two ladies ended up being my babysitters. Yeah, one of them ended up becoming my godmom, my first major loss while living, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm still kind of up about that. And the second lady was the mom of my mom's best friend, and they loved me. It was basically like I got adopted into their family. And even after I started gaming, for like the first 7 to 8 years of my life, I just bounced back and forth between these two ladies' houses if no one was able to watch me. But anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Now, one day, I woke up and saw a Nintendo GameCube plugged into my family TV. Now, again, I'm about 4 years old at the time, and I honestly thought the thing was my older brother's when I saw it. Back in the day, the only way you'd see these were at other family members and friends' houses. Certain fast food stores and department stores also had game chaos you were able to play, and hell, even some children's clinics had some of these, although I may be remembering them wrong, and the one that I used to go to might have just had a GameCube that was plugged into a TV. I don't know. But there was definitely a lot more of those out in the wild than nowadays. I don't even think there's any more of those kiosks nowadays. At the time, I didn't know anyone that was an immediate family or anyone that lived around me who had any video game consoles. All of my elder cousins had consoles, but they lived in Vegas or like way further away from me, so it wasn't like we were driving over there so I can go play on their consoles or anything. So my first experience was with the Nintendo GameCube, and I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy to think that the system I started my video game journey on is considered one of the most mediocre of consoles. But that's enough of my biases. From what I can vaguely remember, and after talking about this with my family, I had needed to go to the doctor to get a shot for something, and a 4-year-old getting a shot is almost never a good thing unless you're somebody I know who's just really good with needles, so you can only imagine how that went for me back in the day. But after that traumatic experience, I noticed a little GameCube in the corner. Now, I'm not sure if it was a kiosk or, like I said, it was just plugged into a TV and they just had one there, but I noticed two kids playing a very interesting looking game. Once I noticed that thing, and the other kids that was there playing it had to go to their appointments and I got a chance to play, I put my hand on that controller and a whole new world of life was unlocked for me. And the game inside of that GameCube was a game called Sonic Riders, and I was hooked. I was hooked into the world of video games, and more importantly, I found out who Sonic the Hedgehog was in that moment. And from there on out, every single moment of my living life was Sonic the goddamn Hedgehog. I'm trying not to get deep into this story because this intro is long enough, but I just wanted to give you guys the backstory of how my video game history started, as I figured it was very important for this video. Now, back to the day I found my GameCube connected to the TV. It was a week after that day at the clinic. Shit happened so fast I thought they just went back to the clinic and took it. I now had my very own video game console, something to keep me busy while I was at other people's houses, and most importantly, at least to my parents, I was pacified. It made life easier for them because besides the essentials of life, eating, sleeping, and making sure I was washing my ass, I think school as well, because I started school early. I know, big whoop. I was just sat in front of my TV enjoying the new video game console I was just blessed with. I'm pretty sure it was easier for them to find a copy of Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders was a bit newer at the time, but the next game I got changed the way I looked at life moving forward. Sonic Adventure 2 was my first true video game experience. Well, second, depending on how you look at Sonic Riders as a game. Sonic Adventure 2 is just a masterpiece in all ways, shape, or form. Now, I am not trying to sound nostalgically biased, but this game has such a grip on me on how I live my life nowadays. This game taught me lessons that couldn't be conveyed in ways taught normally. I've gained a moral compass from this blue bastard, dude. This game means so much to me. Releasing as the last game to grace the Sega Dreamcast before Sega dropping out of the console race and becoming a third-party company, and to this day, can we just acknowledge the fact that they're still one of, if not the best and biggest AAA third-party company in the world. So depending on how you look at it, this was a pretty good decision. Word on the street was that this was supposed to be the very last Sonic game, and well, who the fuck lied to us? I'm very glad this wasn't the last Sonic game. I couldn't imagine my first video game being the last to a series that in my eyes just got started. Once I figured out the lore and who this character was, I learned Sonic gained a pretty huge fan base as Mario's rival back in the 8 and 16-bit era of gaming. Now, did they say this was going to be the last Sonic game as a marketing ploy? I don't know, but these dramatic ass trailers definitely didn't help.
The military's top secret weapon, Project Shadow, was stolen from a military base located on the deserted island in the southern seas. This incident increased worldwide terrorist activities. Sonic the Hedgehog was arrested. The adventure for truth leads to the incidents that shock the entire world. The story takes our hero Sonic from the Earth and into outer space. Sonic Adventure 2, Hero Side Story. Farewell, Sonic. Forever.
My nigga, who fed you lies this morning? I got this game a couple of months after I got my GameCube originally. I'm not sure where I got it from. My family says it was my godmother, but she never disclosed it to me before she passed away. I just know we went out as a family one day to go shopping, and by the time we all got back to the house, she pulled the game out of her purse and handed it to me and said, "Go have fun." And fun I had. This was the canon event that cemented me into being a Sonic fan. I couldn't put these games down. I mean, not having a memory card was a little tough on my end, but I mean, I worked with it, and when I eventually ended up getting one, it was only up from there. A lot of you guys probably know me from my huge Sonic Riders video, and if you guys are returning, I really appreciate that. Again, I just wanted to give you guys some history on how I started playing video games, because as much as this is something that I shouldn't even remember due to how young I was, maybe it's because of my strong connection to this character that I'm able to remember how I started playing video games. I vaguely remember almost everything that happened, and it's probably why this game means so much to me. Now, to start talking about the game, because at the end of the day this is still a retrospective I have to do, this game introduces a plethora of staple characters to the series, Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat. Both of them here to serve as a counter to the characters we play as in the story, sort of as a yin and yang attempt at storytelling. It's not my favorite way of storytelling, I mother rats prefer the story be told in order, but this is miles better than whatever the Adventure 1 attempted. And I don't know, Adventure 1 didn't have that much of a story. It can honestly be summed up like Eggman breaks out and tries to power up a water deity to build Eggman Land, and when that doesn't work, he tries to nuke the city for the same reason, and when that also doesn't work, he tries to control the monster again and gets Fortnite 1 pumped. I know that's an oversimplification, but that's deadass the story of Sonic Adventure 1. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Sonic Adventure 2 keeps its story a lot more cohesive, so we're gonna tackle it now. And don't worry, I won't spend half the video on the story again. Following the events of Sonic Adventure 1, Eggman breaks into a prison base to find some research his grandfather was making 50 years ago. Well, at this point in time, it's more like 75 years ago, but you know, for the sake of continuity, it was 50 years ago. In the spirit of this almost being the last Sonic game, for the first time in franchise history, you get to actually play as Eggman here. Now, the marketing for this game flat out acknowledges the fact that you play as the bad guys in this game, but if you weren't paying attention or just not in the land of the living like I was when this game came out, this came out as a nice surprise. Imagine my surprise when I found out that Eggman was the main villain of the series and he wasn't a reoccurring playable character outside of spin-offs. I know, crazy. Eggman in this game plays in a mech, similar to the gameplay of Gamma in the original Sonic Adventure, although a lot worse controlling. It's not bad, but trying to turn the characters around is probably the worst thing you can attempt to do in this game, and that's one for one Sega and Nintendo unable to make their characters turn around properly. To skip ahead if I may, one of Eggman's stages later on in the story, they seem to uncap his spine and my boy just starts flying. I mean, look at him. But in a majority of his stages, Doggy is pretty slow, him and his hero counterpart. But anyway, after Eggman breaks into the prison while with a sentence, he unfolds what his grandfather was hiding.
So this is the military's top secret weapon. It's a lot smaller than I expected. Enter user data. Enter password. Password is Maria. Maria. Now all I have to do is to place the Chaos Emerald into this console.
Oh my god, it's we are introduced to Shadow the Hedgehog. And someone play the edit. I can't just introduce him correctly. What's going on? Shadow comes out of his pod and he's already on timing. He tells bro, bring me the Chaos Emeralds right now, I'll give you $1,000. Basically he's telling Eggman that, hey, you bring me the emeralds, I got you with a wish, whatever you want. Trust. But what the doctor doesn't know is that Shadow has a hidden agenda he's trying to complete, and this is how he's stringing the doctor along for this adventure. Moving on, in the middle of nowhere, Niggles the Enchilada is seen arguing with another newcomer to the series, a world-proclaimed jewel thief, Rouge the Bat, and she definitely became a fan favorite very, very fast. Knuckles and Ruse are arguing about who the Master Emerald belongs to, and Dr. Robotnik flies overhead to steal the emerald, before asking one of the most striking questions in the series.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the Master Emerald, is it not?
Yeesh, IQ of what now? Turning on the whole headcanon machine, I like to believe Eggman is just trolling here, but still, it's either that or a translation error. This is a strange line. The Doctor takes the Master Emerald, and the Rastafarian jumps into the Master Emerald, breaking it, effectively pushing Knuckles and Rouge into the story. And that's great, because we totally asked for more treasure hunting stages in Sonic games, right? Right? Rouge shares gameplay with Knuckles, so she's treasure hunting for a good amount of this adventure. And in my opinion, I firmly stand on this. He has the better half of the treasure hunting stages in this game. They have completely different levels to run around now, but I definitely do think they put a lot more effort into the dark half of the stages than the heroes. Now why did they do that? My guess is as good as yours, though I am not going to complain about better level design. Although what I am going to complain about is the artificial difficulty in these treasure hunting stages. Now I'm playing with a mod on PC which enables the radar to be as similar as the one in Adventure 1. But this is how it would be in the original game. It's one emerald at a time. You can be right next to an emerald, but if you're not next to the one that the game wants you to find, good luck, bro. And I can't lie, it is one of the things that make coming back to this game a little iffy sometimes, because out of the 3 gameplay styles in this game, I actually prefer the mech stages over the treasure hunting stages, simply because even if I want to just beeline to the end and not get anything for my rank, I can do that, you know? Not here. I have to find these 3 pieces of the Master Emerald and I have to like it, otherwise I can't see the cool ass final boss at the end of this game. Again, I have nothing against treasure hunting stages, it's just my least favorite of the gameplay styles in this game. I don't like doing this. I deadass had more fun just shooting at everything. Now to skip ahead a little bit, Knuckles actually starts his first stage right along with Rouge, but since their first 2 levels happened at the exact same time, I'm just going to talk about it now and then vaguely skip over it when we get to the heroes. Knuckles plays exactly how he plays like in Adventure 1. Fast, he can glide, he can punch, he can't dig, but that comes later. Again. But speaking of the heroes, later that same day, the military of the Sonic universe, the Guardian Units of Nation, or GUN as it's commonly abbreviated, has captured our titular hedgehog, and we're watching this cutscene. I'm sorry, it's only law.
Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route, everything's a go. This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What?
Didn't
The
copy that.
Hedgehog is
Over.
gone. He's taken out everyone aboard and...
What's wrong?
What in the
Come
world?
in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better. Yeah!
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
City Escape is the true level 1 in this game, but storyline wise, this is like stage 3. This stage is just so iconic, man. If not, probably the most iconic level 1 stage in the series, besides Green Hill Zone. That baseline, man, oh my... Escaping from the military that captured him, Sonic must escape from the city to figure out what's going on. Sonic has new moves, well, one new move, but it's pretty important to the game so I have to talk about it. Sonic can somersault. Why can he do this? I don't know. Isn't he technically somersaulting when he's spin dashing? Absolutely, but 2001. Also, the newest and probably one of Sonic's most controversial moves, rail grinding. Once used as a spectacle and even being used to trick off of some of these things for bonus points, now being relegated to when the stage designers just doesn't want to design anything else. This maneuver is the second and most iconic move to come out of the series, for better or for worse, I don't know. This move had me doing some serious rail busting of my ass back in the day. Oh man, you should have seen my face when I realized soap shoes were real. Hell, I still want a pair. After one of the last parts of the stage where you have to somersault over, you get hit with your first real-life Sonic the Hedgehog jump scare. While Sonic is being chased through the streets of San Francisco, Eggman is treading back to his base hidden in the pyramids of wherever this is on Sonic's Earth. I'd like to mention that Eggman stopped flying so he can tackle this stage instead of just flying here, which would have saved him infinitely more time, but okay. The stage is where you really start to feel how uncomfortable the mechs are. Look, I didn't die that often playing this stage. I mean, I've been playing this game since I came out of the womb pretty much, but getting hit and falling off of these tiny ass platforms is enough to make you want to break something. Now, I don't think this stage is all that bad really. Besides what I've mentioned previously, there isn't really much to complain about here. This stage does offer replayability in means of these grayish gun boxes that can't be opened with normal gunfire, but with upgrades just like in Sonic Adventure 1, but we'll talk about that later. Your biggest obstacle here is this godforsaken quicksand. You can't jump out of it. You fall in, it's... No! Sometimes you think you made the jump and now you're falling to the depths of the underworld. Also, you see this down here? This is your energy meter. The mech characters don't function the same in terms of getting hit and dying without any rings. They have this little energy bar at the bottom of their screen, and I believe Eggman gets to upgrade it later on in one of his levels, but only he does for some reason, and he gets a darker blue bar and he takes 30% less damage. I'm not too sure, I never bothered to look it up, and honestly I think I kept the prompt on the screen long enough for you guys to read it. I really wasn't paying attention. Anyway, once we finish Sand Ocean with Eggman, we get a cutscene of Eggman literally scratching his ass. Okay, someone got paid to animate that, and we see Shadow on top of a huge bridge. We cut to the Black Arms creature, but of course we didn't know that at this point, and now we get some of Shadow's backstory.
Find them before they escape!
Maria!
What?
Shadow, I beg of you, please,
Maria!
do it for me. For all the people on that planet. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
I still remember what I promised you. For the people of this planet, I promise you revenge.
Shadow, after he made his deal with Robotnik, went on a mission through the deep streets of San Francisco, and his emo asks, I think he had a revenge plot going on here, what is he doing? Storyline wise, he just stole a Chaos Emerald from the bank, and the citizens of San Francisco think Shadow is Sonic. And before I say anything, let's just put this out there right now. In this game's early development, Shadow looked like this. Yeah, a lot more Sonic looking, right? Now we can see why they constantly make this discrepancy. This is Terios, or Beta Shadow as some like to call him, and he made the holiest reverse 3-stock in the recent years, showing up as a DLC skin for Shadow and Shadow Generations, and he just looks so cool. This is the main reason why they thought Shadow looked like Sonic, and I mean even Eggman was able to point that out in the prior cutscene. But making everyone else dumb just to have the smartest person there make the smart remark everyone was ready to hear isn't good writing, it's just bad. Like the stage card said, Radical Highway is Shadow's first stage, and it's a perfect example of how to interest to a character like Shadow. On Sonic's end, we know he's the good guy, so him running away from the convoy in this big ass truck differs from Shadow just flat out running into the gunfire. He's just built different. Also, instead of running like everyone else, he skates. Well, air hovers, but skating, in case you needed to know Shadow was cooler than Sonic. Also, these parallels are insane. Both start from descending angles skating on their terrain, and while one might be more literal, this is an amazing introduction to these characters. You can feel it when he's skating. He is getting a move on. He is pushing. Now, once again, I have no reason why Shadow is going through this military convoy. I legit think he's just taking some of his anger out on these humans right now because of the memory he just had. He's definitely doing this for the love of the game right now. But after this speed highway ass corkscrew and a goal ring, we get to move on.
Here we go. Ultimate victory.
Oh yeah, this game introduced ranking to the series. For the first time in franchise history, you're actually graded on your performance.
I gotta do better next time.
Damn, at school and at home? I can't lie, this system alone ups the replay value in this game. You can't just beeline straight to the goal and get an A rank and move on, and some of these A ranks are really challenging. I strongly recommend Alpharad's video of him 100%ing this game. How he makes his own routes and building your own routes to try to get an A rank is what makes replaying some of these stages fun, except for when you have to find chows, but we're not there yet. I personally think the ranking in this game was nothing but a perfect system. It makes the speed level so much more fun to play, and you actually feel like the characters you're playing because you don't want to mess up as them because you don't want to restart. Honestly, I hope they bring back some sort of ranking system like this. The only other Sonic game that had some sort of challenging ranking system was Sonic Unleashed, and even then, it's still easier to get an S rank in Unleashed than it is to get an A rank in some of these stages in this game. So even recently, Shadow Generations, they made it easier to get an S rank by lowering the threshold to 40,000 points instead of 50,000 points. But enough of my tangent. After Sonic and Shadow finish their respective stages, Sonic, after a quick boss fight, meets Shadow for the first time.
For just one hedgehog!
Hey guy, take care. What?
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
That's the Chaos Emerald! Now I know what's going on. The military has mistaken me for the likes of you. So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Chaos Control!
Wow, he's fast! Hey, it's not his speed, he must be using the Chaos Emerald to warp.
My name is Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
Shadow, what is he?
No move! Stay where you are! Keep your hands up in the air!
Not again.
Reminder that the Rouge and Knuckles thing already happened, so we're moving on.
This is Rouge. I've located Eggman's base and will proceed to enter it now. I hate to say it. I guess I'm going to have to find that key first.
Rouge, being the better of the treasure hunters, finds Eggman's base in an attempt to figure out what he has going on. Also, just to let you guys know, she works for the government agency of this universe, so she's not really a bad guy, she's just really snooping on Eggman, which makes sense since, you know, Gun would know of Eggman if the first 4 adventures are anything to go by. I'm counting the Genesis games, and even after the Station Square event, you know Eggman is on Gun's radar, so it makes sense to have a spy on Eggman. But there is this one mission that comes up later that just grinds me. Rouge must find 3 keys in this pyramid while being chased by this indestructible beetle, and that's about it. Yeah, this is definitely my least favorite out of all of the treasure hunting stages because of how tight the stage feels. It feels like I'm walking in a room full of mirrors. Everything looks the same. And trust me, I get it. I'm pretty sure this is how this stage was designed, but it was poorly designed. I guess that's just me, I don't know. After collecting those 3 keys, Rouge finds her way into Eggman's control room and sees that he has a convenient teleportation pad up there, which makes a certain part of the game make no damn sense.
So this is the space colony Ark. I have to locate the central control room that Shadow mentioned before he left.
Eggman on the Ark manages to find his way to the control room, and honestly, can I just talk about how cool this level is? This is someone's first time on the Ark in over 50 years, so it looks desolate and empty, only inhabited by the gun robots and artificial chaos in here. There are no living beings in here, and God forbid these robots are sentient. Imagine living in constant fear, wondering when someone's gonna come and turn the lights back on, and then a big ass egg and a transformer just comes and shoots the block up. I'd be terrified. All the lights being off, but the electricity in the building still works, the doors open, the rockets fire. And hell, I know these things are technically powered by Chaos Emerald because of the drives they have inside of them, but you can feel the tragedy in the gameplay. This place looks way too technologically advanced for any old accident, and it starts to make you wonder what really happened here. Eggman also gets one of his upgrades here, a bigger cannon to break through metal boxes. And honestly, with how Eggman was breaking through these metal doors earlier, does he really need that? Eggman makes his way to Shadow, who's already waiting in the control room with the emerald he had when he was taunting Sonic or whatever. Why do you look like that? Shadow throws the emerald in there to power it up and says to the doctor with all 7 the world could be his.
And then, the world could be yours.
See, I wasn't lying. And that's when Rouge jumps down from wherever the hell she was hiding. I mean, she is a bat after all, throwing herself into the team by telling Eggman she has a read on where more of those emeralds are. They make a deal and they head off to search for the emeralds. Sometimes the story must return to the beginning for it to make sense. The dark characters are all back on Prison Island, now trying to find those Chaos Emeralds, and Eggman has advised a 3-step plan.
I will go in first and distract the military troops, allowing you to sneak in the base without being detected. Then, Shadow will enter the armory, where he will set the timer on these dynamite packs. Once that is in place, we will blow up the whole island and get away before anyone has a chance to know what hit them.
Not a great plan.
Meanwhile, you'll have to sneak into the cargo area and grab the Chaos Emerald. That's a challenge for such a worthy treasure hunter as yourself, isn't it, Batgirl?
I feel like Shadow could do all of that, but you know, we have to play as these characters, so let's start that plan. Back-to-back Eggman stages is insane. Why did I never notice this? We are in the weapons bed now, and in my opinion, this is Eggman's best stage. The vibes are insane. Blowing up a military convoy while on their home turf as a one-man army is hard as f***. Y'all can't lie. I really like this stage. This is my favorite Eggman stage in the game, like I said, as long as you can get used to the beam lock on because there are robots everywhere. This was the stage I was talking about earlier when I said like here it feels like Eggman's speed is uncapped, because let's compare it to this footage while he's using dash panels. It doesn't even look like he's matching him on the right. I know this is probably the biggest stage in the game for him, but goodness, why isn't he always like this? There isn't really much to say about this stage besides this being one of the easiest stages to A rank because look at all those gun robots.
Now you know why I am the best.
Back to the hero side, Tails is flying over the ocean near Prison Island after hearing about Sonic and what he's gotten himself into. Now, I'm not too sure how I feel about this cutscene. From the dialogue, the game wants us to believe that even though Tails thought Sonic deadass did all of those things, he was just gonna break him out anyways, and honestly, that's really endearing. What a guy. Our two-tailed fox spots Amy and he's about to pop Amy in her or at the very least push her overboard. Can she swim? Tails and Knuckles can, so what about I need to stop with these thing pieces, I'm sorry. Tails transforms his plane into a mech and we never see this plane again. This motherfucker even converts this into a motherfucking car to chase down the president's limo. Why do I need to equip hover jets again?
You're impossible. You couldn't. 100 years. Once. You couldn't. Once. Now you made me mad. You that's it. I'm done. I let my guard down.
Hey, how's that?
This time I'll let you go, but the next time we meet, you won't be so lucky.
Wow, Tails, you did it! But what are you doing here on this island?
I'm the one who should be asking that question. Don't you know it's dangerous here?
I know, but I'm here to save my hero, Sonic.
Again?
Hurry! I know Eggman's up to no good again.
Okay, you stay here and I'll be right back.
Don't leave without me! I want to help Sonic too!
This is Tails' first action stage, and what a bad first impression. Okay, the stage isn't the worst, but honestly, I forget this stage is even in conversation when it comes to the stages that he plays in this game. The only thing of note here is a Big the Cat cameo in one of the jail cells, which is honestly hilarious. Why are you here? One thing I legit just noticed, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to notice, is that all of these stages parallel each other. Sonic and Shadow both start in a city legit after breaking out of something. Tails and Knuckles both make their way inside of a prison to find something which ends up being a hedgehog, and while not directly connected, Knuckles and Roof start off in lagoon areas. Again, yin and yang. I love this little detail. It shows the characters are connected through this adventure, and totally not just reusing assets. While Tails is exploring Prison Island, Rouge finds her way into the vault and must find these 3 emeralds that are stuck inside.
I'm in position, Doctor. Tell me when.
There's been an unexpected delay on my end. There's no more time to waste. Set the timer for 15 minutes. Let's go, Rouge.
5 minutes should be plenty. Here I go.
Look, I get it, we must set some urgency, but a third of the time you were offered, gang? Come on now, you should have said 10. This is definitely one of the most creative stages in this game. You're looking for whatever emeralds are in here with constant security and Eggman wailing at you to hurry up. It's honestly so nerve-wracking sometimes, I love it. Still, I wish we had a bit more time. If not 10 minutes, maybe 7 or 8, and the only reason I say this is because this stage is vertical as hell. And actually, we've been here before as Eggman, and if he knew, he could have totally took these emeralds for himself, further proving that Rouge is not here to help Eggman. After Rouge finds the emerald, she's confronted by an R1 flying dog, a boss similar to what Sonic and Shadow fought at the beginning of the game. Yeah, Shadow begins with a boss fight in the same room, I just forgot to mention it until now. Rouge defeats the aircraft and she radios to Shadow to let him know that she's pretty cooked. She's stuck inside this vault with no way out.
Shoot, troublemaker.
To this day, I still have no clue what this cutscene means. Back on the hero story, Amy then for some reason is the person who comes to free Sonic from his cell, which makes me wonder why Tails was even here to begin with, and then I remember that Tails probably wasn't even supposed to be a playable character. I just find it weird that we got a cutscene where Tails is just like, yeah, I'm coming, and then Amy Rose is like, psych, I lied. Amy Rose is behind you. You know what I mean? Like, go away. You see how tweaked out Sonic is in there? Bro didn't notice the mural of equations on the wall behind him, and he's presumably been in here for about 12 hours, give or take. Are you trying to tell me he didn't turn around not once? Well, he's staring at the wall before Amy says she saw Shadow. What's going on?
If I tell ya, will you marry me?
No way!
I thought I had you this time.
I'm telling you, Sonic in the early 90s and early 2000s was one dumb mother. Metal Harbor, Metal Harbor, Metal Harbor. This stage needs to get the Generations treatment, please. This is my favorite Sonic stage in the game. Perfect combination of speed and platforming. This is what I want. We can take advantage of grind rails here, but they're more out compared to in City Escape and other levels, being more like guardrails to keep you from falling off the stage, a literal safeguard. I really enjoyed this stage. The sense of urgency you get from the situation in the prior cutscene, and it's conveyed without a timer. Did anyone notice that? The only timer here is at the end of the level, and even then, even if you're not in that area, if you just let Sonic sit here, you'll start to feel like you're just wasting time. And it's definitely a mental thing because we know that the other characters are here, so Sonic rushing out of here to try to find them just makes so much sense. Now we can talk about upgrades. Just like the original game, the characters can upgrade themselves to make traversal easier, and I might have shown off a couple for Eggman already, but technically this is the first upgrade in the game, the Lightspeed shoes. Now I'm playing with a mod that turns these upgrade models off because I like my Sonic characters without a whole bunch of BS on them, but this right here is a great change considering the lack of hub worlds. Although my biggest question is how did the characters lose their upgrades from Adventure 1 and 2, and why do I need hover jets for a plane and an Eggmobile? Once you pick up the Lightspeed shoes, you can obviously do the Lightspeed dash, functioning similar to how we know it nowadays. No more stomping on a dime to charge for 12 seconds. Picking up from the Lightspeed dash trail, Sonic makes his way to the most memorable piece of this level, the rocket ship.
Missile launch in 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, fire.
That was cool!
Okay, now listen here. This stage is so underrated, man. I hear absolutely nobody talk about White Jungle. Everyone just wants to talk about Shadow's next stage, but we aren't there yet. I genuinely like the vibes you get here. Maybe because in the back of my mind I know we're going to go save someone, and the cutscene after this can feed families. But let's hold on for a moment. Shadow is running through the jungle to reach the prison to save Rouge, while Sonic just escaped from the prison making his way to the jungle. There's more of that parallel I'm talking about. Here Shadow gets his Lightspeed shoes to allow him to light dash, and yes, you could have used this in Radical Highway to get the flame ring, or if you did what I did earlier and just spin dash jump to it, you would have had the flame ring before you even got the Lightspeed dash, which doesn't necessarily help, but it would have been nice to have already. But after a couple minutes of flying around trees, light dashing through fog, and being pulled like we just got on Full Throttle at Six Flags, we hit our goal ring.
Here we go! Ultimate victory. Phew. So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you. Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
There's no time to play games. You won't even get the chance.
Alright, Sonic and Shadow are fighting. Let me walk you through how to do this. Now, since you're playing against another version of yourself, Shadow can obviously do everything you can do. Spam the homing attack. The only way you can hit Shadow is hitting the back of his head, and if you try hitting him from the front, you won't go anywhere. You'll just bounce straight off. You can also catch Big the Cat here again. Why are you here? What is going on? But after you bonk Shadow in the back of the head a couple of times, we get to move on. I honestly didn't think I needed to talk about this, but I feel like there would have been someone in the comments that got mad at me because I didn't explain how character battles work.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up? Gotta get out of here. Find Amy and Tails. Right away.
Now Sonic is running through the jungle. Dude, there was a point in time when I was younger, I had this song on repeat constantly, running everywhere, PE all the time. It didn't matter what the occasion was, testing, reading, going outside, I had this song just blasting in my ears. I'm one of those kids in hell, one of those adults that listen to Sonic music and think I go faster when I do. Especially when I got older and I got my first touchscreen phone. Now, there isn't really much to say here besides the big ass time limit that has been shrunken by 2 minutes. There isn't much here that I didn't already say while talking about Shadow's portion of this stage. Now, you can find the ancient light here if you want to do this, but it's not a necessity like it was in SA1. Also, I really like how the gold ring area of this stage is marked like a little door.
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
Chaos Control!
Shadow saves Rouge and the island blows up, and I honestly have insane questions, but that would extend the video by 30 minutes, so we're gonna move on. Knuckles, completely unrelated to the story, is in the Mountains of Pumpkins, and why is this Knuckles' best action stage? Yes, it's very spacious, but it's not like one of his up-and-coming levels that can take upwards of 9 minutes even with the knowledge of the Emerald Shard. We can find Knuckles' first upgrade here, his digging claws, because he somehow lost his first pair from the first game. We can also find another Big the Cat cameo. Why are you always jailed behind something? What is going on here? You know, it's very hard to talk about Knuckles because he is so disconnected from his side of the cast for the first act, only meeting up with them at the start of the second act of the story, which is when they're all back in the city, which, to move forward,
Citizens of Earth, lend me your ears and listen to me very carefully. My name is Dr. Eggman, the world's greatest scientist, and soon to be the world's greatest ruler. Now witness the beginning of the greatest empire of all time.
Sonic, Tails, and Amy all regroup in the city after watching Eggman piss on the moon, and that's when the military spots the trio and they have to take off yet again.
That means me too. Hey, wait!
Amy, you're not that slow. Please stop. Alright, we're back in San Francisco, but we're Tails now. Honestly, one of my favorite things about this game is how connected the cutscenes and the levels are. We can tell that we just got spotted by the military in the prior cutscene, so what did we play? A level where we have to escape from the military. Yet again. We're playing Radical Highway as Tails. It feels so weird having Tails' innocent ass face on these big ass wanted signs. This is something I always laugh at. This little boy is not a criminal. In this stage we unlock Tails' first upgrade, his hover jets, which still pisses me off as a power up to this day. This is a plane. This makes platforming in this game so much more easier, but it's like putting a band-aid on a problem that didn't need to be there in the first place. I don't really have much to say about this stage, so I'll offer some quick trivia. Now, I'm not sure how true this is, but I remember hearing this from somewhere and I can't find the source confirming it. But do you guys know that the creators of this stage made this stage allegedly because one of them got a ticket and this was their way of taking their anger out on them? Now again, I don't know if this is true or not. I probably got this from a Did You Know Gaming video, but if this is true, that's just based this. I can just imagine the developers playing this stage over and over and over again. Also, another thing that I kind of just glossed over earlier, Tails wasn't supposed to be a playable character in this game. Allegedly. At the time of recording, I haven't found any sources, so if I have, I'll just throw some on the screen. But reaching the end of the stage and escaping the military, Knuckles made his way over to the aquatic mines to find more emerald shards. This is your standard water stage. This stage isn't that bad, but this stage is really only here to allow Niggles to get his next upgrade, the air necklace, which will allow him to turn on breathing mode from the 2D Red Luigi games. Now just a quick warning, this level might spawn the emerald shards in places to where you don't even need the air necklace, but just to be thorough, because it's rather important for another stage that's coming up later in the game, I'm going to walk you through how to get it right now. So when you load into any mission, more about that later, we gotta look for this little pillar with these ghost faces on there, and once you jump inside, you must quickly, and I mean quickly, make it to the power up on the other side of the pillar. And can I just say, I love this, okay? Using the level design in ways to find upgrades is just peak in my opinion, and this upgrade is huge for the latter half of the game, so it being a challenge makes getting it all the worth. This is how upgrades should be handled in my opinion. It was sort of like that in Adventure 1 where you kind of had to find your power up in the hub world, but here this is the only place where they put some thought in trying to put a power up somewhere. Every other power up is pretty much handed to you, and I don't know if it's just me, but I really love how this upgrade area was designed. And this upgrade is really the only reason why I remember this stage. This is just your run-of-the-mill box with water that you can raise and lower, and I wonder where they got that from. How the hell does that mine lead to the city? And how long did it take him to get there? How on God's green earth did Knuckles make it there before Knuckles and Amy even took off? Anyways, Tails and Amy are hiding out in the Cut of Despair, and Tails informs Sonic that he can't find the emerald signal anymore, and thinks that Eggman took the emeralds into outer space. Knuckles then appears from the sewers and fills them in on what he was up to.
Than I thought it would be. Where are we anyway? Hey, where are you going?
Dog, she's trying to pull you out the way. She's not going any— Who wrote this? Why is the English translation so bad? Tails, being a super hacking ass boy, somehow manages to find the presidential transcripts between him and Eggman and uses those transcripts to track a presidential limo. I'm not making this up.
If we get into the limo, we can trace the call to find Eggman.
Okay, let's meet up there.
Hey! Wait for me, Tails!
The president must be over there. Let's go!
Alright, a new style of gameplay I like to call Sonic Drift, but if Sonic Team had less time to make it with better hardware. Okay, that sounds mean, but this is the most streamlined kart racing gameplay, I swear. The controls are fine, yes, but you can tell that this was slapped together. Very interesting gameplay to say the least. Here we are catching up to the presidential limousine that Tails tracked in the prior cutscene, and honestly the fact that he caught up to the man while starting on the streets while the president seemingly was already halfway across town is crazy. You know, it would be so much faster if Tails could have just flown to the president instead of driving to him. And to anyone that's going to say he drove to stay under the radar from the military that was tracking him, do you know how fast Tails will have to be going to catch up to this limo depending on where they started from? He broke like 60 speeding laws just getting to the president. What's going on here? We catch up to the president, who's already back on the streets instead of the infinite highway we just saw him on, and after one of the most hilarious line deliveries in the series,
satellite communications are down. An emergency meeting has been called. Mr. President, this is a national crisis.
Spare me the details. Exactly just what is it that you want? Dr. Eggman.
Well, let's just get down to business then, shall we, Mr. President? I won't bore you with all the details since I know you are a very busy man. Mr. President, my demands are quite simple. Surrender to the Eggman Empire and make no attempts to resist. Otherwise, your country will cease to exist. You have 24 hours to give me your answer.
No way!
Sonic and Tails catches up to the limo. Sonic, how fast do you have to run to keep up with a limo? Sonic and Tails hop inside to copy the data of the transmission to figure out where Eggman is hiding, and I love how Sonic just tells the president to shut up and hops out. It's genuinely hilarious. Back on the arc with Eggman and the Dark characters, Eggman clearly tweaking out because not only did the president pay him no mind, Sonic and crew clearly knows where he is now, and now he has more things to worry about.
Where in the world have you been?
Something happened?
Our threats fell on deaf ears.
I love this interaction, I love this line, I love how it's delivered, I love this game. Rouge calls Eggman embarrassing, and Eggman quickly tells Rouge, hey, we made a deal, you doing all these talking, what have you been doing? Then, to confirm this is a sequel to Sonic Adventure, we get reminded of the Station Square incident, even though it makes it seem that Tails was the one that stopped Perfect Chaos. Okay, first of all, Sonic needed the emeralds to fight Perfect Chaos, and Station Square looked like this when all of the Chaos Emeralds were in one space. Didn't Tails already have a Chaos Emerald on his plane before Chaos stole it and transformed? That being the red emerald he took from Froggy, right? There's no way the city had the time to give him that emerald. What is going on here? Do I have to remind you guys, Station Square looked like this at the end of the game? I'd like to talk about this more in the comment section below. Leave your theories down there. Don't forget to like and subscribe too, if you made it this far. You're 50 minutes! And you know you like the video. Eggman orders Rouge to go back to Earth and find the emerald, and Eggman walks out of the room, Shadow following right behind, but not after muttering something to himself about something happening soon and mentioning Maria. Rouge just hears this and doesn't stop to ask who he's talking about or what he meant by that. She just shoots him a gun gesture and lets him leave.
The ultimate life form or not? I will continue my research on Project Shadow and have a follow-up report very shortly. Just a reminder, don't forget about my jewels.
It would have been really good if you stopped and asked Shadow what he meant before you gave that intel. Just a little thought. Oh dear gosh, we have to do this again. Okay, now we're finding Tails. And yes, while the track might be a little different layout-wise, the gameplay, the premise, everything is exactly the same. You must reach Tails before the time limit ends, or you gotta start over. So we're gonna move on. Wait a minute, bitch, you can fly!
Shadow, they're in that blue plane. Spotted at 11 o'clock.
Copy that. I'm in pursuit.
Welcome to the only other Shadow stage that people talk about that isn't Radical Highway, Sky Rail, a level that's built all around rail grinding and these springs that follow you everywhere you go. I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few of you guys might recognize this as 2-6 from Sonic Frontiers, and wow, I am old. And while this stage is nothing but hype because it's literally based off of the new mechanic for this game, 9 times out of 10 I'm just letting the character do their thing. It works 99.99.24% of the time. The music in this stage goes absolutely bazonkers, and it's part of the reason this stage is constantly brought up from time and time again, and I have no problem with that, but I just don't see it. Maybe because it just reminds me of what this series would end up doing to the mechanic, and it just makes me sad. And even grinding in newer games that don't even have the boost button, you just hop on the rail and hop off. The game effectively plays itself for you. For me, this stage is memorable for the music and not the stage design. I don't know if that's a hot take, but if y'all disagree, y'all can just let me know in the comments. Moving on, Shadow catches up with Tails and relays Eggman on the low. Eggman tells Shadow not to do anything because Eggman has a huge fucking ego and he wants to greet the heroes himself, as if that worked earlier when fighting Tails. Yeah, Tails canonically won that first fight. Eggman ran away. Some fucks, huh? The heroes converge at the pyramids to close in on Eggman, and Tails goes to find the entrance. And welcome to the second act of the game.
We should be able to get into outer space from there. I don't know what this space colony is all about, but I'll find and destroy that cannon, and then kick their Imperial butts.
All right.
I say act like how a movie does their acts, first, second, third, that's what I mean. Hidden Base is Tails' next stage, and don't get mad at me, maybe it's because they designed Eggman stage to be played after you beat the hero story, but I just find this stage a lot more bearable, as there isn't that many places where you can just get sniped into the sand. I didn't say you weren't gonna get hit, I just said there weren't many places to get hit. I don't know, I really enjoy mazes in video games when they aren't unfair, but the one thing you might not like about this stage are these Eggman walls you have to shoot. They take about 4 to 5 shots to break, and it could be a huge pace breaker sometimes, especially for speedruns. And while I don't remember if there were any in the Eggman stage, they overdo it in this one. I guess they really want us to know that this base belongs to Eggman. But after you knock down all those walls and make your way to the hidden base door, it's time to continue.
Very good!
Alright, we gotta go fast, let's go! Pyramid Cave is a strong contender for my favorite stage in the game, I can't lie. Only winning because the song for Metal Harbor clears this stage in over 60 countries alone. While Sonic levels in this game have definitely been shaved down to more linear gameplay, this time around you can really feel it. As in other stages, you still feel like you had a decent degree of area to run around here. Not here. We're in a pyramid, of course, so how do the developers circumvent that? By allowing you to run on the walls, at least during straightaways. And that opens up a whole extra chance for bonus score for better ranking. Yes, you can always just beeline to the end or spin dash straight to the end and get whatever rank the game gives you, but it's the strategy of finesse in these more streamlined stages, plus the ranking system makes this game so much more replayable. In Sonic Adventure 1, score didn't really matter unless you were doing a mission that required you to have a certain amount of score. If there were any in that game, I can only take so much of SA1, okay bite me. But since you are promptly graded at the end of every stage, and you notice that from the first stage of this game, it starts to mess with you. Do you want your stage select list to be full of D and E ranks? No, they don't look nice. And plus, the A rank just looks so pretty. Go for the A rank. Here we have these rings you can jump through to get some extra points, but if you can change the rings together when some are lined up, you can't tell me this isn't satisfying, man. Look at Eggman repurposed E102 Gamma for this stage, and yeah, apparently he can do that. Bro mass produced hundreds of these guys. Why do we never see this guy? Oh, right. In this stage, we unlock one of the most controversial yet universally loved power-ups in this game, the bounce bracelet. And now it's time to hit the skies. Let me introduce you guys to a tech in this game the community calls super bouncing. Whee! Unlocking the bounce bracelet for Sonic is like turning on creative mode playing Minecraft. You can do whatever you want by bouncing near a wall with enough speed. You just start flying. Now, there really isn't many applications to use in this stage. You can use it to skip over a few walls if you don't feel like placing a key into a hole that's right in front of you. I'd say this stage is one for the books. I hope to see this stage come back in a modern Sonic game one day.
Yes! Too easy. Piece of cake.
Alright, you guys, we found the door. Now, how do we get in? Tails, you found the way over here. I just ran over here. Knuckles, what have you done? I mean, I'm just here for the ride. Nobody told me what was going on. Knuckles, go find the keys. Why do I have to? Knuckles, go find the keys. Chambers of Death is our next stage, and it's almost one-to-one with the stage we played with Rouge earlier, except you just don't have that big ass beetle chasing you around. I really do enjoy the pieces you collect matching the theme of the stage, but what door has 6 random keys, 2 sets of 3 just sitting around in the base? IQ of what now? Niggles also unlocks his next upgrade in this stage, the hammer punches, to allow him to break through iron boxes. And that's literally the only significance with this stage. We can move on now.
Huh? Who's there?
Boy, what the fuck is that? Why do you— No! This is my least favorite boss in the game, bar none. To this day. Why do I keep doing that? I still have no clue what to do that doesn't make this enlarged nut any more pleasurable to fight. I think this boss has certain phases that it needs to go through for you to attack him, and how you attack this guy is that you have to hit this little mini ghost that's holding the hourglass to open this hatch at the top of the room, and the ghost will go into the state of hiding and Knuckles has to dig him up. Or no, he doesn't, never mind. Then you can just whack him as many times as you can get your hands on him, and I say that because after you hit him once, this man turns on the burners and starts hitting the dash, and once the trapdoor above closes, he grows back and you have to repeat the process. King Boom Boo, holy shit, this one actually predates that other ghost from that one game about Green Mario. This is nuts. I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I play this boss. Why does it feel like no matter what I do, it just changes what it does every time I play? I can't get a grip on how this boss fight works.
That was pretty rough.
Eggman shows up after the scuffle with that off-brand Pac-Man ghost and summons a golem made from sandstone? What is this thing made out of? Is this a robot or a possessed giant? And why is it in the middle of this convenient ass room? Alright, one boss fight leads to another, let's do it. Alright, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I cheesed the hell out of this boss fight for this video. Now what you're supposed to do is to find your way behind him and hop on these platforms and homing attack to the top of his head. Or you can use the ancient light move from earlier and it does twice as much damage as a normal homing attack, just like from the original game. But since at this point in time we have the bounce bracelet from Sonic's Pyramid Cave, what's just stopping us from— Yep. Yeah, this is how I beat this motherfucker. Can you tell I'm impatient?
Nice try, Rocky.
When Sonic struck his head, he must have broken the restraining mechanism. Ah, what a piece of junk! No!
Green light for launch. Primary engine ignition on. Beginning liftoff countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shuttle liftoff.
Okay. Listen, and I know you've probably heard this from like 4 different creators. I get it, this is a common complaint, but you bet your damn left ankle I'm about to talk about this too. Why and how is there a rocket here? I understand, this is a video game for children, but even as a children, I've always wondered why there was a rocket here. Eggman can teleport to the Ark. I'm pretty sure Shadow can chaos control up there, and let's just say for all intents and purposes, Rouge can just fly there. I mean, these little niggas can breathe in space, but this rocket is never explained. It's just a throwaway line about how Eggman would probably have one because he's a genius inventor, but why the hell would you build a functioning rocket in a place where you have teleportation accessible? IQ of what now? I swear Eggman always builds the instruments to his own destruction. Granted, this would have made a lot more sense if they gave Tails this rocket responsibility, because it would have made a little bit more sense. I'm rambling about a game that came out 25 years ago. Let me tee up. The act is now final. Rouge, still on the space colony Ark, is radioing Eggman to try to secure the space colony password out of him. The heroes are on their way to the Ark, but whoever's driving this, it has to be Sonic, almost crashes into a meteor that would give the attacks on. They barely nick the meteor and the hatch opens and the Master Emerald pieces that were inside scatter because we needed Rouge and Knuckles to have space levels. Rouge, snooping for herself at this point, finds out what Shadow is and slickly slides that she did pay attention to Shadow's comment. Before she can get all of her info on the screen, a prompt appears saying that there's a signal from the Master Emerald coming, then Rouge takes off.
I guess I'll just have to take the last pieces of the Master Emerald.
Oh dear God. Okay, this stage is not as bad as everyone made it out to be. Yes, it's very annoying, but I can appreciate it growing older because at least they tried to be different, and I'm learning to enjoy the imperfections in video games. And I mean, I like Sonic 06 as a game. I'm talking about Sonic 06, not Project 06. I like Sonic 06 as a game, so I think I can deal with some backwards text. I think the biggest issue in this stage is that it's entirely too large. This is some impeccable Red Luigi universe level design, and it just doesn't work sometimes. Yeah, this stage can and will take you a long time regardless on if you have an idea of where the emerald shards are, because Sonic games just don't work, you know what I mean? No matter how hard you try to circumvent what's going on here. Let's just say they didn't get these controls right, running around these small planets. Here we get Rouge's last upgrade, the iron boots, to help her kick through iron boxes. Why is this saved for her last stage? A quick little thing here, using the hit monitors in this game will affect the amount of points you get from the emeralds, affecting your rank in total. But in stages like Mad Space, I feel like that's just really mean, because not only do they flip the text, it also takes away from your score. Yeah, no. Okay, moving on. I hate this. Look. Yeah, okay. Okay. I have nothing nice to say about this stage. I mean, the music is amazing, but I mean, all of Knuckles' stage themes are good, so that's not necessarily a high bar, but I mean, there's no redeeming qualities I can find about this map. This map is just big and boring, and meteors are homing missiles. Knuckles can get an optional upgrade here, these sunglasses that really complete the look, and honestly I think I like them with these on unironically. It allows you to see hidden things in the terrain, but the reason why no one talks about this is because you can't jump. Yeah, for some reason it takes the glasses off when you jump. I'm confused as to why. They already make your vision darker. I don't think it would have been that game breaking to freely use them, but I mean, I guess. While Knuckles and Rouge are getting the remaining shards, Sonic, Tails, and Amy regroup on the Ark. I like to believe Tails can store this mech like an Iron Man suit. The electronic interference from having this in a rocket would definitely be dangerous, right? Unless Tails turned this into a rocket and flew to the Ark, I wouldn't be surprised. Tails gives exposition on the situation to recap the player, and Amy says this:
"Now it's an abandoned Ark, wouldn't you say?"
Amy is adorable and we love her. Tails reveals that he manufactured a fake Chaos Emerald, which, just like the beta Shadow design, ended up making an insane return in last year's Shadow Generations. But the implications of being able to create a fake Chaos Emerald, I mean, listen to what he says here.
But in fact, it's a fake one I created after researching the real emerald. It has the same wavelength and properties, but it's less powerful than the real one.
Like, it isn't exactly the same, but it's clearly powerful enough for Sonic to do something later on in the story. How is it possible for Tails to make a whole ass Chaos Emerald, but his mech needs hover pads? I'm dragging this, I don't care. Back on Earth, Eggman and Shadow, still in the hidden base, see that the heroes have 2 Chaos Emeralds on them, which Eggman notices one of them to be fake because 6 of them are already in the Eclipse cannon. Shadow gets ready to take off, but Eggman holds off and teleports to the Ark to confront the heroes. Cosmic Wall. I Love this stage. This is Eggman's last stage for the Dark Story, and we take advantage of him actually being in space because his hover pads send him upward. Wow, what a concept. This is definitely Eggman's most creative stage, solely because the game now expects you to use a power-up that was used to make platforming easier as the main way to platform in this stage. It's really creative, I love it. The stage also offers like mini on-rail sections just for points. It's so dope, I can't lie. We also get Eggman's last upgrade here, the protective armor I told you about earlier, and this set piece at the end of the stage is cynical. Where the fuck did this come from? So Tails is tasked to destroy the shield that's protecting the cannon, and this stage is extremely similar to Eggman's Lost Colony, except, well, people are here now, so the lights are on. The biggest thing out of these stages are the artificial chaoses that are made out of reflective fucking water, okay? They also like to hide these bastards right behind doors, and can I just tell them to, they pop their little heads out, snipes you with their long ass arms, and then goes back into hiding. Who designed this? You know, maybe there's a reason why we never saw these guys again. Also, at the end of the stage, try your hardest to get all of these bombs in one hit for a good score, since you have to hit these bombs twice and you can lock onto about 10 things here. So that's a decent amount of points. You're gonna need them, cause you're not gonna have any rings at the end of this stage.
I gotta do better next time. Okay, Sonic! Now put that emerald...
Tails, tell Sonic to meet you back at the research facility.
Sonic! Amy is...
I didn't get that, Tails. What happened to Amy? Tails!
Alright, we gotta do this as Sonic, now let's go. I'm very indecisive about how I feel about this stage. It's enjoyable, yes, but this stage revolves around these anti-gravity switches to run on walls, which he literally didn't need in the pyramids, but it's for gameplay, I'm just being an asshole. This stage still suffers from enemies just being dropped on your head, and I just have to ask, why? Who designed this? Although I'm not gonna lie, there are some parts in this level where running on these walls are just painful because the camera zooms all the way the fuck out. I can't see. Like when you flip under something and then the camera cuts to the next area and you're all disoriented, 9 times out of 10 you're holding the control stick forward and you're flipping right back the direction you came from. Here, midway through the stage, we unlock Sonic's last canonical upgrade, the Flame Ring, which allows him to break through iron boxes. And that's really all I can say about that. At the end of the stage here, there is a huge anti-gravity maze, and honestly, it's not that bad, but goodness, the drop distance just fucks me. Now, there are definitely ways to skip this section, but for the sake of transparency and gameplay, I took the normal route. And wow, I was humbled. I did not die as much as I thought I was going to, but I died a few times in places where I had to ask, why did I die there? I genuinely enjoyed level design like this, and I would like to see this in more Sonic games, but it has to be done right, and at this point I'm very much just yapping. While Sonic is running to find Eggman, Knuckles and Rouge duke it out one more time before Rouge giving up and just giving him the Emerald Shards. There's a character fight here, but I'm not going to show it because it's not that important. Knuckles completes the Master Emerald, and Rouge falls off the ledge. Nigga, you're a bat? You were just... This dramatic ass cutscene, man.
I'm sorry if I hurt you.
Okay, I guess.
We should get going.
The next cutscene is the best cutscene in this game, so we're gonna watch it through. If you want to skip it, here's the time to skip to. I'll see you there.
Let's take care of business first, shall we, Sonic? Hand over the Chaos Emerald, slowly, and then we'll talk about your girlfriend. That is, if you really care for her.
Handing over the fake emerald? I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone!
Put the emerald down right there and back off.
You've turned into a big-time villain, Doctor.
Whoa! You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Tails!
Because you just told me, Fox Boy. Now,
Even Sonic knows Tails was a moron for making that comment. Tails, all you had to do was shut up and let Sonic give him the emerald. You still had the real one in the mech. There was no reason for you to say that. You knew the idea was to trick him. You guys still could have very much gotten away with this. Eggman launches Sonic from the colony, and from the looks of it, Eggman just wins. Sonic has no way out of that capsule. I mean, Shadow couldn't even break out of it. But the game is called Sonic Adventure 2, not Shadow Adventure 2, so...
The same wavelength and properties. But can I do this?
farewell, my admirable adversary. Now we have some unfinished business to take care of. If you give me the real emerald, I will release you both. You have my promise.
Sonic!
Huh?
Sonic is asking for the first time to do something for him. I won't let him down. I won't give up.
All right, no more games, Tails. No, I can't lose to Tails.
I did it!
Yeah, Sonic just uses Chaos Control to escape, and while I have a world of things to say about how Chaos Controls was used here, you know, fake emerald and everything, let's not act like Sonic hasn't been using the emerald since the second game of the series. I fully believe Sonic considered the use of Chaos Control when he saw Shadow do it earlier in the day, but the only problem I have with it is where Sonic ended up. How lucky is it that he landed back on the Ark? Imagine he landed on Earth or something, the planet would be doomed. Yeah, I know Chaos is power enriched by the heart, and Sonic's heart knew he needed to go back to the Ark to save his friends, but actually I probably just explained how he got back to the Ark. Never mind, I'll shut the hell up. Shadow nods off Sonic with a little one-liner. Oh, how cute. And Eggman bids Sonic farewell, but he wastes no time and he's already back on BS to finish his plan. Tails, feeling the remorse for getting his friend killed seemingly, takes it into his own hands to take down Eggman. There's also a character battle here that follows, but it's not that important because Eggman steals the real emerald from Tails anyway. Sonic lands directly next to Knuckles, and Sonic asks him to help find Amy and Tails. He concludes that he's gonna jam the emerald into the barrel of the laser, which, yeah, okay, and then he takes off. Rouge makes her way back to the Ark control room as she has eyes on the Chaos Emeralds. Shadow walks in on Rouge and tells her to drop the yak, and he knows who she is, full force.
One pathetic creature.
Damn, that was a slur. You didn't have to call her all that. Rouge counteracts with her own research about Project Shadow, over questioning who he is, because the thing that's on the paper looks nothing like what's standing in front of her. But I'm gonna hold off on that for now.
This is Dr. Eggman. I have found all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Shit. Someone is trying to get the Eclipse cannon. There's not much time left before the cannon fires again. Can you get over there?
If you want to live, leave the Chaos Emeralds where they are. The fake emerald is good enough for you.
Do you actually believe that you're the real Shadow?
No doubt.
Even your memories might not be real, you know?
Even if my memories are not real, it's still me, Shadow. And I will fulfill my promise to Maria. That's the only thing that matters to me now.
Nigga, you know damn well you wouldn't lay a finger on her. Final Rush is my third favorite stage in this game, behind Metal Harbor and Pyramid Cave. And before you guys say, wait a minute, you just shot all over Skyrail for having nothing but rail gameplay and you're about to praise this one, Yes, this is my YouTube channel. I don't know, this level just has that aura of a final level, so it makes the rail gameplay a little less of an issue. And I mean, I said it before, rail switching isn't necessarily a hard thing to do, but in this game, yeah, that can still happen. Again, this stage with the context of what's going on fills me with that adrenaline that Sonic feels as he's trying to reach the cannon, and the music helps with how Jun Sonoy just starts shredding on that electric guitar. Sonic can absolutely skip a good amount of the rail gameplay too, and hell, he can even skip the vertical gameplay too, but at what point are you actually playing the game when you have to do all that? This game already suffers from a lot of hop, skip, teleports, shout out Ajax, and if you've seen any other Sonic Adventure 2 speedrun, well, need I say more? Here you could definitely take advantage of rail tricks for extra points, which you were able to do in other stages highlighting Sky Rail, but it's so inconsistent I just stopped trying. But after another Adventure 1 set piece set in the sequel, we finished the final stage of the hero's story.
Too easy. Piece of cake.
Alright, let's do it. We got Shadow one more time. We're trying to meet up with Sonic, who's making his way to the cannon to blow it up. Shadow's stage has less to do with rail grinding and more of these cylindrical tubes that Shadow has to run around. And I recommend just jumping on these to save yourself if you can. You can definitely hold forward on these things, but I severely recommend jumping to keep your bearings. This is very, and I mean very, disorienting. Like when you're traveling up one of these things, it's not bad. But when you're traveling horizontally across these things and you're going underneath something in a 3D space, yeah, no, it just doesn't sit right with me. The final part of the stage really hits home when it comes to what I mean here, because there is an open area of platforms like this, and it makes it so much easier to just stay on top of this to hit the pulley than to awkwardly wait for Shadow to wrap around this thing. Yeah, you counted correctly, Shadow only has 4 stages in this game, and he still left that much of an impact on the series.
You never cease to surprise me, Blue Hedgehog. I thought that capsule you were in exploded in space.
You know, what can I say? I die hard. You actually saved me, you know.
It was a Chaos Emerald, wasn't it? But there's no way you could have activated the Chaos Control using an emerald that's fake. So, there's more to you than just looking like me. What are you, anyway?
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog!
Sonic is so cool, I love this game.
I can't let you live. Your adventuring days are coming to an end.
Before this is over, I'll show you the true power of Chaos Control!
This is the last character battle of the game, and the most iconic character battle of the series. I mean, it was brought back in Sonic Generations, and it's the most iconic rival battle in that game too, I wonder why. The way you beat Shadow here is a little confusing. You can do it in multiple ways here. Just like the other Sonic v Shadow character battles you had in Green Forest, you can't just attack him up front, he will jump and try to defend himself for the most part. The most consistent way I've managed to clear this boss is to just wait until Shadow teleports in front of you, stops moving, charge up a spin dash, and release it before he uses a special move. And depending on if the game lets you, because sometimes it'll just push you out of the way, you can course correct and it's a guaranteed hit if landed, because Shadow doesn't move out of the way quickly enough after using his special. If you get far enough from Shadow, he will teleport in front of you, giving you a chance to line up the spin dash, but don't hold it for too long or stray too far back, as the flow below you is falling into space. You must bonk Shadow 8 times to beat him this time, and Sonic canonically wins this fight. I mean, if he didn't, he wouldn't have been able to jam the emerald into the Arc in time. Now, there are obviously different ways to defeat Shadow, but this is just the way that works for me when I play.
Game over, Shadow!
Tails knocks Eggman out of his mech and he sneaks off with the real emerald. Tails radios Sonic to let him know that the mission was complete, and look at them, man, they're shitting themselves. They really thought Sonic was dead. Sonic radios back and Tails and Amy look outside. I love this guy, man. Eggman makes it back to the control room and tosses the final emerald into the Eclipse cannon to power it up, but Sonic stops it with the fake emerald. Or so we thought.
The ultimate life form. Chaos control.
Desperation.
Supersonic collision. Untamed power of chaos.
Professor Gerald, the truth about 50 years ago.
Sonic Adventure 2. Last episode. Wishes are eternal.
Eggman flips after noticing the cannon hasn't fired. He looks around on the screen before an image of his grandfather shows up. We cut back to Sonic and Knuckles in the observation room, and Rouge appears to tell them that the Ark is now falling towards the Earth at an incredible velocity.
This is a death sentence for every human being on Earth. If my calculations are correct, the space colony Ark will impact the Earth in 27 minutes and 53 seconds. All of you will be destroyed, along with your beloved planet Earth.
To TLDR, because we get the gist of the situation, Sonic, Tails, Niggles, Rouge, and Eggman must team up to make it to the core of the Ark to stop the Chaos Emeralds, and honestly, talking about it over gameplay is better than watching a cutscene, so let's cut to the final stage.
System alert. System alert.
This is the final action stage in the game, and it's one big stage between all of the characters. This is probably one of my favorite final stages in the series because of how everything blends together. The whole game we've been getting these parallels and stages, showing that all of these characters were in the same areas, but now we have to work together in one area to save everyone. It's really poetic. This nigga just flung this guy out of this very room not even 20 minutes ago in the timing of Sonic Universe, and now Sonic has to help this guy save everyone. Why is this so funny? Let's talk about gameplay. It's one big arc level. Starting with Tails, we play in an area similar to his Eternal Engine stage, which I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just reused some of the areas from that level. And Tails has to make his way to a door he has to break open while dodging the artificial chaos and gun robots from earlier. The biggest thing here for this stage is this little clock thing to freeze time, to make dealing with these fuckers, fuck these guys, a little bit easier. We break into the room, find the door, and spam the action button. Alright, it's time to do the exact same thing, but with Eggman. Oh, we have green waste that acts like poison in these moving blocks that we have to platform on. Now, freezing time with moving blocks. I think I know what we have to do here. We control Rouge for this next part, and we have to find a switch to drain the liquid from the core. We have to take advantage of that time freeze mechanic from the last two parts of the stage to find a switch to open the cage that's guarding the big switch in the middle of the room. Blocks from Eggman's part of the stage return shows that whatever one person deals with in their parts of the level will be part of what the next character has to go through. These blocks are coming in a counter direction from where you're coming, so you're gonna have to freeze time to make your way through the area. Once you flip the switch and make your way back to the main control room, you flood the room.
System alert. Energy core save program terminated. Self-repair program initializing.
Can you hear me?
Now we switch to Niggles. Now this is why I said the air necklace is huge for later on in the game. Now you can definitely do this part without needing to grab the air necklace, as there are air bubbles around here to save you if needed, but I strongly don't recommend you doing that, as 5 minutes of getting an upgrade will save you hours of retries. Look, this part of the game isn't hard, but underwater parts in video games suck no matter what game you're playing, so why would you make it harder for yourself? Last but not least, we are Sonic running through that very door that Knuckles just opened to make it to the canyon's core. How many times have I repeated that? I'm so sorry. The biggest thing about this area is once again a callback to the original Sonic Adventure with this water slide that Sonic has to go down, looking very similar to the one in Lost World from the original Sonic Adventure. In the Gold Ring area, looking extremely similar to the Emerald Shrine from Angel Island. It looks like the professor did his research on Knuckles and his tribe before or well after they got wiped out by Chaos. Up in the halls of the Ark, Amy, after ranting about being left behind, finds Shadow in the observatory, 100% content about what's about to happen. He's just sitting there waiting for the end. Amy pledges to the Edge to join the heroes in saving the world and to find some beauty in knowing that there are people willing to save the world no matter how fucked up it is. Shadow's situation is tragic, but he shouldn't punish the people who had nothing to do with the attack on the Ark and Maria. This unlocks Shadow's real memories. Remember when Rouge said that his memories might not be real? And how lucky is Amy's to just so happen to say the exact same thing Maria said 50 damn years ago. I'm all for coincidence, but goddamn. Shadow takes off immediately to help after saying another striking sentence.
Go now. I have to keep my promise to Maria and you.
No, you didn't promise Amy anything. You promised Maria. You promised that to Maria. Amy just so happened to remind you what you promised. You didn't promise Amy anything. Sonic and Knuckles notices the shrine, and Sonic uses the 0.1% of his brain that's not for running to see that this area was designed to harness the power of the emeralds. I mean, how else would they get here from here? Either they teleported to the shrine, which we know they can do, or the control emeralds we put the emeralds in are tubes that lead down here, which, okay, why wait for all 7 to be in the machine? Anyway, Sonic and Knuckles try to reach the shrine, and a giant fucking salamander, yes, this is a salamander, spawns out of nowhere to stop the heroes from advancing. Okay, I lied. This thing didn't come from completely nowhere. Remember those cutscenes when Rouge was in the control room with the emeralds giving the call to the government? You can actually see the thing right here. I think Some Call Me Johnny had a word for this. Hold on, what was it called? Oh yeah,
Foreshadowing.
this is the most iconic boss in the game. Maybe besides the final boss, but we aren't there yet. The prototype of the ultimate life form. So that means Professor Gerald went from this 50-foot fucking lizard to this 3-foot hedgehog. I don't even want to ask questions. How this boss attacks is he'll chase you in a circle until he can hit you, but if you the player get too far away from his head, he'll start attacking you with his tail. After that phase, he'll open up a rail, which in reality is a tube helping it breathe. You gotta grind up to reach his weak spot. After the first hit, the boss will start sending these energy orbs from out of his mouth. As the new fades, you have to dodge and jump over, and you repeat this a couple more times until it opens itself back up again for you to attack. After you hit the boss 4 times instead of grinding up the side of his face, after it's sweeping an orb phase, you have to homing attack these pinkish orbs that the bio lizard spawns to hit his weak point. Do that one more time, and while it's on this last hit of its life, it'll start making you float, and you have to glide your way to the weak spot while it fires its orbs at you, and once you knock him one more time, we defeat the boss.
Get out, you ugly prototype!
The servers are the 7 Chaos. Chaos is power. Power is enriched by the heart. The controller is the one that unifies the chaos. Only you can do this. Stop the Chaos Emeralds! Is it gone?
Is that what Chaos Control is?
Since we've stopped the Chaos Emeralds, why is the space colony still on a crash course to Earth?
Still alive. He's controlling the space colony as it's linked to Earth. He's the one with the space colony and is determined to keep it on its collision course.
Sonic?
Man, this boss is lame. Okay, look, don't dislike the video. I love this boss fight. Yes, it's pure, and I mean pure aura, but the gameplay is very repetitive and very boring. Look, I'm not using that to knock this boss. I mean, it's probably the most recognizable final boss in the series aside from Perfect Chaos, but even Perfect Chaos had a lot more gameplay to that fight. Here, you just nudge your way to the weak point on the Bio Lizard, which moves around this time, and hell, you can miss the damn thing sometimes, but it doesn't happen enough to complain about. Once you're around the weak point, the game just pushes you towards the weak point, and I don't know if I just missed the momentum of needing to go fast enough to damage the boss, and maybe that definitely would have helped the boss here, but the only challenge here is to avoid these lasers that can be a bit annoying, but it's nothing that can't be avoided, and this orb shield of the same pinkish orbs that hardly surround the thing at all. Now again, I started with negatives because I'm an adult and I gotta complain about something, but the positives of this fight outweigh the negatives. I swear. I can talk about what I don't like about this fight all day, but man, everything else rocks. Live and learn, the theme of Sonic Adventure 2 and the theme of the series, depending on who you ask. As the name of the boss entails, this is the final hazard. This is life or death. You only have 5 minutes before the Ark cracks the earth with the weight of their failures, and last time we had to save a city. Now we have to save the world, and it just hits every serotonin receptor in my brain. Yes, this boss isn't the best designed boss, but the moment and the hype in seeing this for the first time lives in mine and millions of other Sonic fans' heads rent-free. The fact that this song can erupt a crowd of over 10,000 people at any time shows how fucking amazing this song is. This song is Sonic Adventure 2. This riff can awaken sleeper Sonic agents around the globe, and it makes defeating the final hazard much more awesome.
I must destroy all the evil the Professor has created.
No way that's getting through!
Shadow, I beg of you.
Maria!
Give them a chance to be happy.
Shadow! Chaos Control!
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
Where is Shadow? Do you really think that the Professor created him, Shadow, to carry out the revenge on all those who live here on Earth?
He was what he was, a brave and heroic hedgehog who gave his life to save this planet. Shadow the Hedgehog.
I guess you're right.
As a child, I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together!
You're right.
So what's next for you, Rouge? Off again to find those jewels you love so much?
Nah, I think I'm gonna give up this line of work. Too much work for too little pay. Anyway, I've got something better than jewels that I'm thinking about right now. It'll all work out, you'll see.
If you say so.
Created the ultimate life form.
What's the matter, Sonic?
Oh, it's nothing. Come on, let's go home. To the planet as cool and blue as me. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
So that was Sonic Adventure 2, and I hope I did this one better than my last long form video. I knew this video wasn't going to come out for a while, and as a matter of fact, I was going to do this video first because I played this game first, but I dropped that thought and just decided to continue doing the retrospective in order just to keep this cohesive. I mean, I can always make a YouTube playlist, but I don't really want to do that. This game is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time. Top 3 for sure. This game is fan-fucking-tastic. Yeah, there are a lot of things to complain about, but just like any game from this era of gaming, when isn't there something to complain about? I understand there are some things in this game that just make no sense, like the unnecessary Emerald radar change and giving Eggman more stages than Shadow, but say what you want about Sonic Adventure 2, this is the best selling 3D Sonic game for a reason. Now, I do think some of those people are stuck in the past about this game and won't give the newer games a chance simply because you can boost now, but if you're a Sonic fan and you haven't played Sonic Adventure 2, go ahead and play it as soon as possible and just enjoy the game for what it is. This game has aged pretty well, all things considered, and I did say I used a few mods for the recording, and I know a Sonic fan mentioning playing a game with mods is getting real annoying, but these mods were purely cosmetic, and if anything were to retain the original look this game had on the Dreamcast, because if you guys didn't know, Sonic Adventure 2 has been re-released as Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the Nintendo GameCube and re-released again on Xbox Live Arcade and the Sony PlayStation Store on the PS3 on the 7th generation of consoles. You have to pay an extra fee for the battle portion of the game, which okay. The game also got released on Steam around the same time, and that's the way I recorded this video. Some changes include Sonic having his soap shoes in the beginning cutscene instead of them spawning out of nowhere, the various Big the Cat cameos I mentioned throughout this entire game, some model changes with the cutscenes. I won't explain all of them, I'll leave a link to the cutting room floor if you want to read up on some of those things, but these re-releases came with a plethora of issues that fortunately mods are able to fix to play like its original Dreamcast release. I mentioned missions earlier in the story, and there are 5 missions per stage per every character, and I guess this can also segue into another returning thing from Sonic Adventure 1, emblems, and there are a total of 180 of these things, a whole 50 more from the first game. And how you get them are similar. You have a mission list to choose from, and after beating the main mission, you have your typical collect 100 rings, score attack, fighting a hidden Chow. And speaking of Chow, because I forgot to mention this in the first game, these games have virtual pet simulators known as Chow Gardens, where you can hatch and raise the Chow creatures introduced in SA1. Once you collect every emblem in the game, which takes way longer than needed, I recommend watching out for Ed's video on that, you unlock a hidden green hill zone, and no one can convince me that this is bad. I'm sorry, this is like a 3D version of the full 2D layout from the original Sonic the Hedgehog, and although I didn't see this until much older, in an era where Green Hill Zone is in every Sonic game unfucking ironically, I can appreciate this more than most people, even knowing where this would lead. Sonic Adventure 2 also introduced multiplayer in an official Sonic game for the first time, and it's never been topped. Like, it only came back one time in an official setting that isn't spin-offs, and well, we can kind of see why it never came back. You choose the characters you want to play and then you pick a stage. If you're using the speed characters, you're going to be racing in a mini course or half of some levels. Mech characters just get to fight, which I'll be real, I've never touched even with the people I had over to play this. And treasure hunting, do I even need to explain this? There hasn't been a Sonic multiplayer that hasn't been this thought out since this game. And if you have people to play this with, take 20 minutes and mess around and play the multiplayer. It's so cheesy, it's so fun. I'm gonna end it off here by saying, while this game isn't perfect, this game is definitely the reason I'm a Sonic fan and the reason I am who I am today. I wrote a 13 1,000-word essay, longer than any school essay I've ever needed to write, and the difference is I actually wanted to do this. I've had so much fun going down memory lane just to talk about Sonic Adventure 2 because Sonic Adventure 2 is my moral compass game. Just look at the aura, man, he's so cool. I replay this game once every year as a tradition at this point, and my kids will be doing it too. When I have kids. This game teaches the story of determination, empathy, anger, and love in one story. We haven't seen a story like this since this game, and when we did, Sonic Team said the game wasn't canon. Sonic and Shadow's rivalry is so good that even nowadays, it's hard for me to think that Shadow even likes Sonic as a person, but they saved the world together this one time, and that's enough for Shadow to find Sonic alright. Might I even say he sees Maria in Sonic, and that just makes me all warm inside. The music, the story, the setting, the aura of it all. Sonic Adventure 2 is a game I definitely recommend if you haven't played it at all by any chance. I mean, this game just got a movie adaptation. I think playing it for that reason is more than enough.
Yes! Too easy. Piece of cake.
If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys with 12 of these little motherfuckers in the next one. God bless you all, and take care.